My buddy at work keeps telling me I need a budget. I make $32,000 a year. After rent, I got $800 a month for everything else.
That's tight. But that's exactly why you need a budget more than anyone.
What's the point, though? There's nothing to work with.
That's the backwards thinking. The less margin you have, the more critical it is to know where every dollar goes. People with $800 a month can't afford to lose even 20 of it to something unplanned.
But all the budget advice I find is for people making $70,000, $80,000.
The math scales. The principles are the same. You just have less room for error, which means the plan has to be tighter, not absent.
I've never thought of it that way.
Most people in tight budgets don't. They assume budgeting is for people who already have enough. It isn't. Budget advice has a target audience problem. Most of it is written for someone with a mortgage and a 401k and a car payment and a dining budget and a vacation fund. It assumes a certain amount of financial breathing room. Enough margin to play with categories. Enough income to fund every bucket adequately. Enough left over to make the math feel worth doing. What about the person whose entire take-home pay is wafty $800 a month, whose rent alone is $100, who has $700 left for groceries, utilities, transportation, phone, and everything else adult life costs? That person looks at the 50-30-20 framework, and the numbers simply do not work. 50% of wanting $800 is $900. Their rent already exceeds that. They look at standard budgeting advice and conclude that budgeting is for people who have enough money, so they do not budget at all. This is the most expensive financial mistake a low-income household can make. The Federal Reserve's Survey of Consumer Finances consistently documents that low-income households experience proportionally greater financial damage from unexpected expenses than higher-income households. Not only because the dollar amounts are harder to absorb, but because they are far less likely to have any savings buffer in place. A $200 car repair costs the same in dollars for a household earning $32,000 a year as it does for one earning $85,000. For the first household, it may represent nearly a third of the month's flexible budget. For the second, it is a minor inconvenience. The difference is not the income. It is the presence or absence of a plan. Here is the most important truth about budgeting on a low income. You need it more than anyone, not less. The less financial margin you have, the more precise your dollar assignments need to be. The more every untracked $20 matters, the more you cannot afford to let money drift into unplanned spending and disappear without being noticed. Start by finding your actual take-home income from all sources, not just your primary job, any side income, freelance work, government assistance, child's support, or any other regular money arriving in a given month. Add it all together. This is your real working number. Every dollar you plan must come from this figure. Now apply a modified framework. On a low income, the standard 50-30-20 percentages will almost certainly not reflect your reality. And that is not a failure of yours. It is useful information about your financial structure. Many low-income households find that fixed necessities alone consume 65 to 75% of take-home pay. Housing costs have risen significantly faster than wages for over a decade. If your needs already exceed 50%, the immediate goal is not to hit a target percentage. The goal is to account for every dollar that remains. After fixed necessities are paid, assign each one intentionally and eliminate the financial drift that quietly costs low-income households far more than it costs higher-income ones. After fixed bills are assigned, look honestly at what remains. This is your entire flexible monthly budget. For groceries, transportation, phone, and any small amount of personal breathing room. The difference between spending $260 and $340 on groceries this month may represent a third of your entire remaining budget. The grocery number needs a real ceiling, set based on meal planning and realistic estimation, not a hopeful guess made on payday. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the federal agency that monitors consumer financial products, publishes free financial guides specifically designed for low and moderate income households, covering how to comparison shop essential expenses and how to access government assistance programs that reduce the real cost of living and your cost of living. SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, is a federal food assistance program that a significant share of eligible low-income Americans do not claim, either because they are unaware they qualify or because they feel uncertain about the application process. CHIP provides health insurance coverage for children in families who earn too much for Medicaid but too little to afford private insurance. Utility assistance programs exist in most states for qualifying households. These are not supplementary options for extreme situations. For households operating on tight margins, they are legitimate and important budget tools that reduce the real cost of necessities. Ramit Sethi makes a point that carries particular force for low-income budgeting. The three largest line items in any American budget are housing, transportation, and food, in that order. These are also where the most significant financial leverage lies. A $150 reduction in monthly rent. From finding a roommate, moving to a slightly smaller space, or negotiating at lease renewal, is worth more to a tight monthly budget than eliminating every small discretionary purchase combined. A decision to drive a paid-off, used vehicle rather than finance a newer one, or to use public transit where geographically possible can free hundreds of dollars per month that would otherwise go to a car payment, plus higher insurance premiums. Reducing food costs through deliberate meal planning and reducing default dining out, not eliminating it, reducing it, can recover $20 to $40 per week without meaningful sacrifice to daily quality of life. These structural decisions take time and involve real trade-offs. They also create lasting margin where there was none before. For the emergency fund on a low income, the standard $1,000 target remains the goal, but the path must match reality. If you can only automate $10 per paycheck to savings, automate $10. If selling unused items from your home can add $60 to the fund over the next few weeks, plan for that specifically and do it. If a tax refund is coming, the IRS returns any overpayment of federal income tax each spring to those who filed. Plan to direct a portion of that refund directly to the emergency fund before it mixes into the checking account and disperses. For a low-income household, the emergency fund is not a luxury. It is the specific tool that prevents one unexpected expense from creating a debt cycle that takes months of tight living to exit. Here is the mindset shift that matters most for budgeting on a limited income. The purpose of the budget is not to make the math look better. The math may remain uncomfortable for a while regardless. The purpose is to eliminate the financial decisions that happen by accident. The spending that occurs not because you actively chose it, up, but because there was no plan to redirect it. On a low income, every accidentally spent dollar is a dollar that came from somewhere necessary. The budget does not give you more money. It gives you control over the money you already have, which is the only thing a budget is ever able to do for anyone at any income level. Morgan Housel writes in The Psychology of Money that financial independence is not determined by how much money you earn. It is determined by the gap between what you earn and what you spend, and whether that gap is being managed on purpose. That gap can be managed carefully on $28,000 a year. It can be ignored and wasted on $90,000 a year. The income sets the size of the gap. The budget determines whether it is used or lost. You have a budget to build, not a perfect one. Not one that hits every textbook percentage. One that accounts for every dollar you have, assigns it the most effective job it can do for your specific situation, and leaves nothing to drift. That is the whole task. The income will grow. The skills you are building right now will grow with it.
So the fact that my budget is tight isn't a reason to skip budgeting. It's a reason to budget more carefully than anyone else.
Exactly. You can't afford to lose track of $20 the way someone earning twice your income can.
And the government programs, SNAP, and those are real options for people in my situation.
If you qualify, they exist for exactly this situation. There is no financial wisdom in leaving benefits unclaimed.
I think I've been telling myself I don't have enough money to budget.
Everyone says that at some point. The truth is, you don't have enough money not to.
Yeah, that one hits differently.
It usually does.